My name is Claire Evans. I recently wrote a book called Broadband, which is a feminist history of computing. I always kind of thought that if I was going to write a book, it would be about computers in some way. And when I realized that there was a story to tell about women, it was like a done deal. It's a book that I see as being kind of a supplement to an existing canon. There's a million great books about the history of technology, and those books really mostly ignore women. And the minute you start poking around in this history, you find that there are so many women who have been involved in computing since the very beginning, who've had central, both operational but also kind of spiritual roles in the development of these technologies. It seemed to me that there needed to be some kind of corrective. It was my first book, so I think I was kind of maximalist about it. I would just start writing about whatever seemed most interesting to me in the moment. I didn't quite know where I was going until I dove into the research. The book spans 100 and change years of history, and so there's different kinds of research approaches. The earlier history, that's a lot of oral histories from the Smithsonian, events concerning the early web. There's different kinds of historical record of what that is. The minute you start really digging into any subject, you realize how little information is actually on the internet. For a lot of my writing about the early web, the websites are gone, or you get just this sort of like fragmentary experience of it through the Internet Archive. Sometimes the only points of reference become books, like things that people wrote about websites. Those books are precious because they provide a clear understanding of what was online at a certain amount of time. But that's not the kind of book you're ever going to find in a bookstore, ever. I mean, I think it's really, really important to hold on to the history while we still have access to any of it, because I feel like it's only a matter of time until it's all lost. And that's what libraries are for. They fill that huge gap of just making information accessible. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to write the book without the library, there's no way. The library gave me access to all of that material. I would just email the library. You can ask a librarian anything, and I actually got a lot of useful help. I ended up having this dialogue with my assigned Ask a Librarian about this very specific footnote about Grace Hopper that I had found in another book, and he really helped me and went and dug deep into the library collections to see if this article was available. It was rad to feel like I had kind of a partner in this incredibly, lonely goose chase that can be tracking down citations for a book. It was so cool, and I couldn't believe that anyone could just email a librarian and ask for help. But every time I couldn't find something, I would think oh, the library. And often it turned out to be, I found it. I've always looked for the library in whatever neighborhood I move to and live in. I like to be surrounded by books in great volume. And I love browsing through collections of things that are organized according to some invisible science, chancing upon things that you didn't expect to see there. I like that sort of sense of real discovery. It also allows you to, interface with a different cross-section of humanity than you would in your day-to-day life. It makes you feel like you're part of a community. I mean, this is the Arroyo Seco branch. We're in the middle of Highland Park, and it's a neighborhood that is in rapid flux. It's important to remember that this is a community, and we're part of a community here. I like coming to the library for that reason, because you really get to see your neighbors. The original internet pioneers were just trying to create infrastructure to share resources and build communities. The same can be said for libraries, for sure. I mean, it's this kind of consistent, human-oriented, care-oriented, information-oriented, mostly invisible, totally unglamorous, but extremely important work. It needs to be celebrated.